out. Hey, what happened?
There we are. Now we're here. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the program. My name is Dean. It is Monday, so we're a few minutes late. 30 to be exact. Listen, when you're in a pandemic and you get locked down again and there's restrictions again and everybody has to stay at home, does time really matter? Or is it a construct of our own reality? What is it? Where are we? Who are you? How am I? How?
Shrimp.
How?
Or any drugs.
Anyway, welcome. Nice to be back. Good to see everybody. We're busy today. That is Bondzee from Tripping with Bondzee. You can get him on YouTube, Tripping with Bondzee, or at Bondzee Live on Twitter. Also, James DeFiore. From Blackballed, the podcast, and blackballmedia.ca is where you can find James. Good to see everybody today. How are we? Are we feeling good? Are we plucky? Are we happy, James? How are you today? I know you're just at the end of a mouthful of something, which is good. If you weren't eating, I wouldn't feel comfortable starting the program.
I'm exploring the curves and the corners of my mouth with my tongue because there's all these little things in there. No, I'm good. Actually, we lost our cat 2 days ago. And
Can't find it?
No, it left during the day and it hasn't been back since. And there's been a lot of like wolves and coyotes in the area. We're just not sure what's going on because he's never gone this long. But, you know, hopefully his rotting corpse isn't found by one of my children, right?
Is he? Are you a cat guy? Are you one of those dudes? It's like, you know, because listen, if I had a cat and it ran away, I wouldn't be like putting up posters on telephone poles looking for it. That's how little I care about cats. Dog, I'd go look for it. I'd be a little verklempt, but I do understand that, you know, when you buy an animal or you have a family pet, it's 15 years of, pain in the ass. And then at the end of it, you're like, oh, I'm so sad. But like, are you those people? Are you cat people? Are your kids upset?
I used to think that I was just both. I was like, why do I have to fucking choose? Why can't I just like both, right? And but then someone told me once, and it totally makes sense. You don't decide if you're a cat person or a dog person. Cats and dogs decide if you're a cat person or a dog person. So if you're a dog person, that means that dogs generally like you, and if you're a cat person, then that the same thing. And so, you know, my wife calls me a cat whisperer. I used to go for walks in Toronto, and come back and I'd be like, yeah, I rescued 2 cats. They belong to this person over there, and they were like 6 blocks away, and they never go out. It's crazy, whatever. This cat, 3 years ago in the Ottawa Valley, there was a tornado, and on that night, I was looking at the back deck. It was like 1 a.m. or something, and the trees were sideways, and then I just heard, and I looked down, and there's this cat, and he's like trying to balance himself against this hard ass wind, and he was like 4 months old, and that was 3 years ago. He was our cat, or he is our cat since then. And he behaves like a dog. Like when I walk in through the doors, sometimes he like runs up and he literally like jumps into my arms. like
oh, you're kidding?
Dog. No, and he does dog things. My dog hates all animals, and this cat arrives, and we were like, "Fuck, Norman's gonna eat him." Our dog is Norman. We're like, you're just gonna fucking eat this cat. And then we left the room. I can't remember where the cat or dog was, but when we came back 10 minutes later, they were literally in each other's arms and just licking each other's faces.
So this is a sad thing. Like, I know you're joking around about your corpse, the corpse of your dog or your cat not being found by your kids, but you're actually like pretty sad about it. I'm sorry if you're
sad because I need to be hopeful. And I learned a long time ago that if I'm sad right now, I'm not doing anyone any good. So every day, the last 2 days, whatever, I've taken an hour walk in the morning, hour walk in the afternoon, shaking his fucking treat container and making click sounds and whistle sounds, and you know, just hoping he's
fucked. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, dude. I didn't know you were so close to your cat. Now I feel bad that I took a big shit on cats to start this whole thing.
You hear crazy miracle stories about cats in the country where they're like,
they'll
disappear for like 2 years
with, like,
and then they just
4
come
other
back.
cats.
Yeah,
with a cat
it's like,
family.
Yeah.
It's
like
probably
the
what
Amish year, you know how like the Amish teenagers get 1 year where they get to go whatever the fuck they want. That's what my cat's doing right now. And hope he's having
Your cat's having his Amish year or his Mormon year, and he's going on a mission trip, but he's going to go into the woods and fuck other cats. That's what your cat's going to do.
Well, that's what my cat would do. It's my cat. So, of course, you're going to go in the woods and fuck.
Of course it is, yeah. Anyway, great to see you, and I hope that your cat shows up. Probably will. I wouldn't worry about it. Cats are weird that way. They've got these homing signals in their heads, and they come back and make your life worse. He'll probably bring the head of a couple of things with him. Bondzee, how are you doing? You all right?
Yeah.
Your mom okay? You said your mom had an issue with last week?
She's rather upset with you.
Yeah?
I saw
don't
her
care.
tune in on Friday, and I was like, and as soon as she tuned in, you dropped about 5 F-bombs, and I was just
Sorry.
like, oh, fuck. And then I FaceTimed her after, and first thing she said, she's like, Gregory Scott, who's that fat Dean who's got the foulest mouth in the world? I was like, Mom, he's not fat. You can't call him that. It's my boss. Anyway, she thinks you have the foulest mouth, even worse than me. So thanks for taking a little heat off me.
You're welcome. And I knew that would happen because my folks watch this too, and my families watch it, and I get a couple of texts from time to time like, did you have to use the C word 4 times in 3 seconds? And I'm like, probably not. But I get that feeling, like that anxious feeling when you know your parents have logged in and they're watching your show, and it's an online show and there's no rules and stuff like that, and the sweat start pouring. Then you start doing a show for your mom. You can't do that, right? You got to do a show for the people.
You started doing a show for your mom and it got worse?
Well,
that'd be hard to do.
My mom used to tell
me,
me,
like, show for your stepmom.
We can't share your show with our friends and family because you've got such a foul mouth. And I'm like, yeah, boy, those 4 listeners that I'm not going to get from you guys is really going to be detrimental.
I think it's funny that she thinks I'm foul and you're like 12 times more foul than me. Like,
it's true, but you just happened to drop 5 effers in a row when she tuned in, and so it really did distract from me. And you got hit this time with the full bomb instead of shrapnel.
Bondzee, if you're fucking listening, okay?
Yeah, fuck
this
you.
Is what we do. This is what we do.
Yeah, sorry, Mom. Fuck it.
Sorry, Mom. Well, listen, I'm glad your mom's okay. Hopefully, Jamesy finds his cat. We got a bunch of stuff to get to today. And I'm not sure where you guys want to start. We've got the Island Boys to talk about. They had a terrible weekend. The Premier of Ontario's daughter is legitimately a psychopath, and she's now selling defibrillators to anti-vaxxers while they actually go and protest at her own dad's house, which is fucking unbelievable to me. But we're still in the anti-vax mess. And we've also got some Louis C.K. to talk about. You want to start with Louis C.K.? I kind of wanted to talk about Louis C.K. to start the day. We might as well. So Louis C.K., super famous comedian up until about 2017. And in 2017, the story started to come out that Louis C.K. had, would you call it a proclivity, Jamesy? A proclivity? Would you call it a thing? A proclivity?
Perversion. Yeah.
A perversion?
Wow,
A light perversion?
Well, okay. Aggressively communicative about sexually explicit activities he wanted to partake in on his own.
Bingo. So in 2017, it comes out that Louis C.K. liked to whack off in front of people. And it was right in the Me Too movement. It was in the heat of the Me Too movement, if you remember. When we saw all these guys like add a Harvey Weinstein to the list, add this guy to the list, add that guy to the list. And it was like weekly, right? We were outing these super famous people who really, couldn't do any wrong up until this point. And then you find out that Louis C.K., it comes out that he was accused of masturbating in front of or asking to masturbate in front of 5 separate women. And only 5 came forward, rumors of more. This is from the New Yorker article on said masturbation. In 2002, a Chicago comedy duo named Dana Min Goodman and Julia Wolov landed their big break, a chance to perform the U.S. Comedy Arts Festival. Bars were closed. Louis C.K. was a comedian they had admired. The woman would be together. His intentions seemed collegial. They were going to open for Louis C.K. Really nice. They said, why don't you come to my room for a nightcap, he said to him. As soon as they sat down in that room, still wrapped in their winter jackets and hats, Louis C.K. asked if he could, quote, take out his penis, the women said. Sorry, I should laugh. They thought it was a good joke and laughed it off. Oh, I guess I should have laughed. And then he really did it, Miss Goodman said in an interview with the New York Times. He proceeded to take off all his clothes, get completely naked, and he started masturbating. Another comedian named Miss Corey said that she was a comedian, writer, and actress. She felt haunted by her run-in with Louis C.K. She thought she was going to help as a performer on a producer of a TV pilot. It was a big step in her career. When they started to talk, he leaned close to her face and said, quote, can I ask you something? Miss Corey said yes in a written statement to the New York Times. She said, he asked if we could go to my dressing room so he could masturbate in front of me. Stunned and angry, Miss Corey said she declined and pointed out that he had a daughter and a pregnant wife. His face got red. She recalled, quote, and he told me he had issues. And this is the last one. A fifth woman who spoke on conditioned anonymity to protect her family's privacy because she had not been publicly linked to the incident with Louie C.K. also had disturbing memories about the incident with the comedian in the late 90s Chris Rock show. Louie C.K. was a writer and producer, repeatedly asked her to, quote, watch him masturbate. So we've got 5 different accounts of women saying that Louie C.K. asked them to masturbate. They all arrived at the same time because 1 or 2 women came forward and publicly said, hey, guess what? Me Too movement's going around. Louie C.K. liked to jerk off in front of women, and he did it in front of me. So now he's got this new special. The special is called Sorry. I don't know if I can play it. I got 2.5 minutes of it here. I watched it last night. It was fucking awesome. Like, fucking incredible. So great to watch Louie C.K. do his thing. So cool to see him back in the groove. So great to see him doing his observational stuff and getting into the minutia of a couple of really tough subjects. And he barely touched on the reason why he's been gone since 2017 from public view effectively. But if you look behind him in the scene, and we can't actually show it because we'll get dinged by YouTube, the set when Ricky Gervais did his tour, and it said Ricky and bright lights behind him. Louie C.K. had just sorry.
Same font.
Yeah, exactly same font.
Love it.
All in light bulbs, and it just said sorry. So my question is for the group, now that he's back, does a big special, he is getting all kinds of congratulations from famous comedians, other people. He's getting dragged by people. He's getting, like, I'm getting dragged because I said I thought it was a really great special. Someone's like, oh, do you like misogyny, you misogynist prick? I'm like, no, because there was none of that in the actual special. I just watched the special. But is he allowed to do this? Like, where are we at with Louie C.K. going? James, you go first. I'd love your opinion.
I was thinking about this before the show as well. And, we're constantly, I don't even know what pronoun to use, we, but people in society seem to want to give life sentences to people that victimize other people. And I think there's a spectrum of offenses, and his is way at the shallow end of the pool. I don't think there's much listen, like rape, obviously, assault, physical assault, obviously, fucking, things like that, crazy. Asking a woman's consent before engaging in a sexual activity, kind of by the book. It's just that it's embarrassing. Yeah. You know what I mean? And a couple of those, one of the things that you read back there, he asked if I could read in front of him, and I said yes. But the first paragraph was how she was haunted. So she was haunted by her actions, i.e., saying yes. I don't know. It's just, it's not sexual assault. It's not rape. It's mostly embarrassing for him. I think it would be a lot more creepy if they walked into their dressing room and started to get undressed and he was in the closet secretively masturbating. That would be kind of weird, wouldn't it?
Looking between the blinds in the closet.
Yeah,
I guess so. It's clear
over the, his nose. Yeah.
Bondzee, what do you think?
Yeah, I think he got the short end of the stick. I really do. I mean, it's not like he was a Weinstein or anything like that and threw himself on women and coerced women into doing stuff.
Yeah.
Louie just basically asked if he could fucking pull his pod in front of these ladies. Some said no, some said yes. No harm, no foul, really, at the end of the day. I don't know. At least he asked and had the decency. And the one time you did read a story where he did continue, I think they said no or didn't say anything, and he ripped off all his clothes and started pulling it. But still, there was no physical harm done to the woman. He did ask permission. I just don't really see how he was so ostracized and beat up over this in the whole Me Too movement and put in the same category as some of these other assholes out there that really did do bad things to women,
But at the same time, Paul Rubens got caught masturbating in a theater in whatever year that was, 1991.
Pee Wee Herman?
Pee Wee Herman. By himself in a pornography where everyone is. I don't know. I think
that's short end of the stick
to
too.
Jerk off
but
in public at a porn theater, but I'm assuming when you the guy that's doing the cleanup is probably not a happy camper, right? Just you know what I mean? Oh shit. Yeah. Anyways, that's not Febreze, man. Not Febreze.
Paul Rubin was also a kid
But
no.
his punishment was also worse because Louis C.K.'s back already. So you know what I mean. And Paul Rubens, it took like a decade for him.
Different
to get back
times.
to television.
Different times.
Yeah, but
too,
the Paul Rubens thing was a little weird. Like he jumped on stage at a like a peep show theater and jerked off in front of people. It wasn't like he caught him jerking off.
I thought he had shades on with the hoodie.
No. Paul Rubens jumped up, had a fucking moment like Pee Wee Herman. This is like 20 years ago. He's in a peep show theater and he's getting his boner on and he gets so excited he jumps onto the stage and he just starts violently masturbating. Everybody's
had
like,
to be on a shit ton of
we're
blow.
masturbating in our own seats. Don't masturbate on the stage. We need to masturbate in our own seats. But I go back to the Louis C.K. thing. Like, I see what you're saying, and I understand that when you ask someone for permission to do something and they say no, you shouldn't do it. And from my understanding, in those interactions, the ones that were accounted for, all 5 that led to his ostracization, if that's even a word, from the world and entertainment and his life for at least 2 years. That was what I read today. He was kind of took some time, like 2 years, and he started doing club shows. And he's like, "Fuck it, I can't even do club shows. People are booing me at club shows." And then he realized he's like, maybe I'll just do this on my own. And he started doing this years ago when he started selling tickets to his own shows on his own website so people couldn't, scalp the tickets. And then he was like, a stroke of genius. I'm going to rent Madison Square Garden. I'm going to do a show called Sorry. And I'm going to do my first show, and who gives a fuck? And when it comes to that world of cancellation, it's almost like he found a fucking side door for all those people that are like, listen, we understand according to, because Louis C.K. said, hey, listen, the stuff that those ladies said happened. Like he copped to it, right?
Yeah.
He said the stories are true. And if those stories are true, he asked for permission, was denied, and didn't do it when he was denied, and then went ahead and did do it when the lady said, yeah, sure, go ahead. I mean, the age that I am and how I reason things, I don't see how Louis C.K. can be branded a sexual predator because he didn't pray. There's no praying on this, right?
Yeah. Do you remember when it happened? Well, maybe you don't, because I never care. So I was like, wait, he asked permission to masturbate? They said yes. And I was like, what's the problem? Like, I'm still sort of like that in a way, because people are perverted. There's a lot of like crazy things that like are very private that you don't really want anyone to know in the public sphere. And I think Louis' problem was that he wanted that so bad. Apparently he really enjoyed it, right? And I think he wanted to
Louis. Everybody's telling me
there
to
was
call
actual
him Louis.
evidence a lot of times that he enjoyed. And it's like then your big secret, your vulnerabilities are out there. Everyone knows that I like it when women watch me jerk off. He has to wear that like in Paul Petrot's life because it's embarrassing, but it's not a crime.
Oh, dude, I was watching the special last night. I was watching sorry to everybody. I need to apologize for calling him Louis. It's Louie. It's Louie. I know it's Louie. It's one of those brain things I have. It's weird. Louis C.K.
We don't call him Louis.
Louis. But to that point, Louis really, do you ever see that Saturday Night Live special where he was hosting it and he's like, you really need to love kids to be a pedophile. Like he went off, like you really, really like Louis C.K. really, really loves when women watch him masturbate. He loves it. He loves it so much. Several times in his career, he put himself in danger asking these women if he could whack off in front of them. And when he got the green light, he did.
Too. They were in danger.
Yeah, everybody was in danger. If you're not like 10 feet away, it's called the danger zone. Kenny Loggins sang about it in Top Gun. It's a danger zone. But you want to stay out of the danger zone. But I mean, like that's his kink, right? Like it is. He liked doing that. To the best of my recollection and everything that I've read, and I've had to read about it today because I didn't want to come across as, fuck everybody. It's okay to do, like, I didn't want to, because these women legitimately did not like that, right? Whether it was before or after, whenever they choose to speak up. The women who said no and were grossed out legitimately didn't want him to masturbate in front of them. And they told him that. And then they took that story to the public after one other person came forward and said, pretty sure Louis C.K. likes to jerk off in front of ladies. But you really, to his point, really, really love when women watch you masturbate. Like that's he threw it all away for that. Like you think about it, it's the same thing. Every sexual proclivity, and thank God I don't have one. Like I was thinking of that today when I was putting the story together, and I wrote about it this morning. I'm like, oh, thank God I don't have this weird kink that makes me want to do something illegal or untoward in certain
Get my ass
environments.
in serious trouble.
It's not illegal if you have a contract. Oh, sorry.
But I was like, that's what I took away from this. Like the whole thing, watching Louis C.K. come back, watching his special, which you have to watch. It's $10 on his own website. You can stream the whole thing live. It's professionally done. It looks terrific. And I was happy to have him back. He dealt with things that he couldn't deal with over the past couple of years because he's been out of the limelight. No one wanted anything to do with him except for his fans, right? But now he has that ability to connect to his fans. I got to wonder what he did to cancel culture yesterday a little bit too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, listen, he also, a lot of people when that story came out were saying, hold on a second, it's being framed in a way where it was like he's like this monkey running over towards women, like spraying them with his jizz, but it's, you know what I mean? It wasn't that. So I think more people than expected were like, okay, well, like we're taking it a little bit far now. You know, he didn't commit a crime apparently. The worst thing that they said he did was that phone call. Where allegedly, if this is true, but that he was like, this woman was talking to him about business and he was just over the phone. And if that's true, that's like the worst one. But the ultimate worst thing that happened in that whole situation was people saying yes and people saying no, and him doing yes when they said yes and not doing anything when they said no. And then they were like, hey, let's fuck that guy because it's the right era to do so. That's what I thought was a little bit offside.
Yeah, cheap.
Yeah.
It was cheap.
It was got like mixed in with the rest of them. And it was unfortunate for him, but yeah, he got hit with the shrapnel and whether what he did was right or wrong, whether he asked permission or not, he still got taken down with the
I'd rather get hit with the shrapnel than the other option though.
Yeah. You've really led with a couple of great analogies today. Short end of the stick and hit with the shrapnel on a story about a guy who can't stop masturbating. Way to go.
Stroke of genius, you. Bondzee.
Really? You probably didn't even know you were that cool. You probably didn't even know you were that good at this. You had no idea.
Just comes naturally.
So should he be, because what I saw yesterday, if you haven't seen the special, you got to go watch it. Do you think he makes a comeback in 2022? Like, I think what he did yesterday was not just a big fuck you to people that seem to think that one mistake or a series of mistakes makes you a useless human being. You know what I mean? Like there's that group of people that think that anybody that makes a public mistake like this, or anybody that gets outed for doing something like this, and is it terrible behavior? Fuck, of course it is. I'm not saying whacking off or asking women you just met, because it's just not something I would do. Usually it's like, hi, how are you? My name is, you know what I mean? It's not like, hey, listen, lady, do you mind if I jerk off in front of you in the bathroom? Let's just go in there and you got to watch me for a minute. It's just a thing I have. It'll help me out. You might like it too. Like it's just not how I do things.
In your purse? Because that would be really helpful.
So let me just put that on the table and say, I don't think what Louis C.K. did was right. I don't think it was cool. I think it was morally gross and weird. But those are my parameters and that's how I live. And I think it's really gross and weird when people ask someone they don't know if they can jerk off in front of them. I don't care who you are. And there was a spate of people that were doing that. Like you heard stories about the Weinsteins and other people. Everybody just starts jerking off in front of these poor women. And normally, and I was unaware that it worked. It's like the flasher, right?
Because they're always awaiting STD tests, so they don't want to fuck up the bloodstream. Right?
Yeah, but do they think that works? That's the thing. Like I'd love to sit and talk to Louis C.K. and go, hey, listen, did you think that would work for you? Like the same way when a flasher's on the subway and he's going to run off the bus and he whips his coat open and shows everybody his penis and his nuts. Like, do you think that's going to turn the chicks on? I bet you
he was successful many, many times.
Well, that's it. That's just it. It's like going to a bar and going up to the hottest chick. If you don't have the balls to go up to her, you're not even going to know if she's going to say yes or not, or tell you to beat it. But you know, if you do ask, I mean, some people are going to say yes some of the time. Not everybody's going to say no. So.
I guess so. Maybe that was how he looked at it. It's like the law of averages. If I jerk off in front of enough people, someone's going to be okay with it.
I would have liked to have the report from the girl who he said, "Can I masturbate in front of you?" And she said yes. And then when we got back to his apartment and he took it out and started masturbating, I went to go down on him. He was like, "Whoa, what are you doing?"
Not into that.
And then
Whoa.
he choose her. You know, that'd be great.
I was Judge, Your Honor, I was masturbating. She said I could, and then she tried to grab me, and that's offside.
Yeah, sounds right. I went to the last Louis C.K. show in Canada at I guess it was the Air Canada Center.
Yeah,
and I thought it was an awesome show. That's where the best abortion argument of all time happened. Whereas he's like, listen, abortions, it's just like murdering babies, but women should be allowed to do it. Come on. And I was like, that's exactly how I feel about that issue.
Well, listen, I'm gonna play 2 minutes from his show last night. We might get censored, we might not. I got this off of Twitter, so hopefully the algorithms don't catch us. But this was case in point. This is why I was really happy to watch the special last night, because he actually summed up the gender fluidity conversation better than anybody that I've seen in any comic setting be able to kind of describe how he felt growing up and where it is now, and what would be easier for everybody if we could just kind of life would have been better for people back in the day if gender fluidity would have been part of the conversation. Anyway, here's Louis C.K. If we get dinged for it, we get dinged for it. It's 2.5 minutes. It's great. Watch this.
Best idea is this gender fluid thing. This is a great fucking idea. Gender fluid, the idea, the way I barely understand it is that you just something in the middle. It's like a fretless bass. You don't have to be the specific pictures. What a dumb way to do it. These are the kinds of people you can be. Which one are you? I don't feel like any of those people. Then you're a failure. You have to fight. Start acting like these people so we know what to call you. Why? Just make it it's just just a la carte. I like dicks, I don't like balls. I'm a this and that. Moving through it, changing when it feels like it. What I'm saying is I wish we had that when I was a kid. Because I think our generation got hurt by the rigidity of identities, and how you had to just stick to them. You had to pick one right away. You're 8 years old. What are you? I'm a boy. What do you like? Ooh, girls. Ooh, vaginas. Love vaginas. I'm 8 years old. I never saw one, but I'm committing my life to them right now. I didn't even get to smell one for a second. Just a sniff. All right, what else you got? "10 years old. Are you gay?" No, I hate dicks. Hate them. What do I know? I didn't even get to fidget with one for a minute. This banana's too hard. I'm not saying I wish I could have blown all my friends to see what it's like. But on 4th of July, there were fireworks. I was with Matt. There was a feeling. I don't know what could have happened. I have no idea. Because we were so scared. We were afraid to seem gay when I was a kid. Because in the 70s, the stereotypes showed you what everybody's like. Men are like this.
You know, like I watched the whole specials like that, where he kind of rides the lightning a little bit and he tries to make sense of it. But I thought to myself, we've shut him out for like 4 or 5 years, right? We shut like comedians, philosophers out, guys like Chappelle trying to shut him out. Like we shut people out. And sometimes those people go away, come back a little bit better. They can cop to what they did wrong, and beat it. I'm into. Look at me going for it too.
You guys are really tugging at the string a little hard today.
Yeah. They get it right. And what are the chances over the past 4 years he could have made some sense to people and could have gotten through to some people with some content like that, right? Or he could have made sense to someone who was gender fluid, who was like, yeah, he's right. Like, no one's asked me. No one's just like it was. It was an incredible kind of moment last night when I finished the special, and I was like, I miss this. Like, I miss this. And I was with the side of people who was like, I was bummed that Louis C.K. went away, because I really enjoyed his comedy, and I thought he was very funny, and I thought he was really cool, and I really appreciated how he got underneath discussions and had conversations about things that normal people really didn't. And I watched that last night, and I was like, fuck, am I ever glad he's back and he did this on his own? You know what I mean? Like, I was kind of proud of him a little bit.
Yeah. And I think he'll be back tenfold in the next year or two. People are going to start to come around. I mean, you can even tell the people on here, our fans, we love him. These people love him. He'll be back, and I think he'll be better than ever, too. I really do.
I don't know if it was last year or the year before, probably last year. He did 3 shows at Yuck Yucks in Toronto. And he did like 20 minutes of material on his situation. And there was like 2 blogs that were like, this is awful. But all the shows were sold out. Everyone that went there gave it like glowing reviews or they just didn't cover it because they were afraid of the optics. I don't know if you guys heard, but do you remember that comedian Andrew Schultz? He was supposed to play Massey Hall. I think it was in the summer. And Massey Hall, they have this board now of busybodies. And apparently this board deemed that a couple of his jokes in the past were just not to our liking. They were a little offensive. And so he's not going to play at Massey Hall. So he ends up getting, I can't remember the name of the venue. He ends up getting another venue in Toronto, but he plays 3 dates instead of 1. And it's a bigger venue. And Bullard just called me the other day and was like, yeah, I was supposed to MC for this comedy thing at Massey Hall, but that committee said that I couldn't do it either. So now Massey Hall is like the social justice venue in Toronto, apparently.
Oh, the Purity Police.
Yeah, we're the Purity Police who know a lot about stand-up comedy have decided, that they're going to ban people or disinvite them.
You know, and it's funny because I was doing we had a deal cooking with this company, really good company, self-help company. I won't go through the name of it because we might be able to do some business with them. And it was a deal to enable all of our influencers to be able to take courses on depression, anxiety, wellness, all that stuff. All you guys would have got involved in it. And I'm like, hey, this is what we do. They approached us. We had a great conversation and signed the deal. And on Saturday, I get an email from this organization. And, it's whatever. Hi, Dean. Listen, we've looked into the kind of content that you and your team do, and we're not comfortable moving forward with this. We didn't know that you did certain content. And I said, what content's that? And they're like, well, it doesn't really matter. It's just kind of the tone. And I thought to myself, for the first time, and listen, I've been canceled. It's fucking great because now I can do whatever. It's like being a really old guy. You can walk around with your pants down and just go, I'm just an old guy. Like, don't mind me. But I thought about it and I thought, oh, that's nice. Is that people are now doing business according to the moral ineptitude or lack thereof of people involved that think that certain people are not good enough people for their people.
Yeah.
Right. Is that right?
Yeah. Like
it's like this.
Thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a purity firing squad. And so and listen, as I said to these people at this organization, I was unaware that you guys had such perfect individuals there. That's fucking awesome. Like incredible. And just like all the douchebags who are coming after Louie C.K. today for doing his own special and not being offensive and not jerking off in front of people and not sexually assaulting women because he didn't do that. But there are those people who have never seen one of his specials, have never watched anything with Louie C.K. in it, have never seen him any of his HBO shows, including his HBO show Louie. He's got that are dead set against Louie C.K. ever playing Massey Hall or anything else, right?
Also because he did a movie with Woody Allen, right around the same time. So you have the Woody Allen shrapnel, you have the Me Too shrapnel, you got Louie C.K.'s. And by the way, when the story broke, there was no accusations or stories that were retold that happened within a decade. It was all 10 years ago and more. It was like 9 years ago or something and more. So it wasn't like, the story broke on Tuesday because he jerked off in a condo on Thursday. It wasn't like that. It was like almost a decade before that. So then you have like, what's the statute of limitations on like, third degree assault? 2 years, 3 years? Like, so, but the social sentence for getting consent to jerk off in front of someone is $50 million, which is the rough estimate of what they think he lost during that time. Wow. It's probably more than that because I don't know what, isn't Chappelle making like 30 million a year every time he does a special? It's like Louis C.K., Ricky Gervais, and Dave Chappelle can probably work for the rest of their lives making $50 million a year because they're just that good. And so, he lost a lot. This whole cancel culture isn't a thing. Maybe we're taking the word cancel too literally. Like, it doesn't mean that we put a stake in you in your career and you're dead forever, but it does mean that you're getting punished for these puritanical ideas that maybe you don't share, and comedians are supposed to be the ones that are left off that shit. And
that are supposed to share that stuff. They're supposed to engage with us intellectually with humor. They're supposed to get us thinking. They're supposed to get us into a place that we normally wouldn't go. They're supposed to make us feel a little bit dangerous in conversations. That's why we go fucking see comedians, right? You go see a comedian, you pay to see him because you can't pay to see it on television because it's not allowed on television. So you know what you're getting, right? Like everybody that downloaded that special had an agreement. Like last night, I signed an agreement to download the special saying, basically, I'm going to appreciate this, right? That's what I did when I downloaded it. But there are people out there that are so fucked in the head, they downloaded, spent $10 of their own money to download it just so they could craft a series of emails and tweets and Instagram messages and shit all over it on Facebook. That's who you're talking about. You're talking about the people that just look for it, right? Like we're in that society where people look for it. I fucking get so tired of it. And then I watched Louis C.K. go up and do his thing last night on Madison Square Garden. Sold out, by the way. And he got every overage charge, and he got every dollar from every ticket, and every single penny from that special goes into his pocket. It doesn't get shared with a production company. It doesn't get shared with Netflix. You know why? Because that's where they put him. Like you did this, and now he's reaping the rewards of it.
Yep.
Exactly. So go fuck yourself. And literally,
if the woke police are really mad at Madison Square Garden can seek solace in the fact that if they want to nickname them, like misogyny, the acronym already makes sense. It's MSG, right? You can just save money on the signage.
Keep in mind, back in 1938, Madison Square Garden hosted the biggest Nazi rally outside of Germany ever.
Is that right?
Yeah, dude.
Holy shit.
Nazis in America. It was the American Nazis Club.
I remember that.
15 or 16,000 people. Nazis showed up to hear Nazis talk about being Nazis and how great it was to be a Nazi. And they were like, MSG's like, yeah, you can rent it. Go ahead. Like, no big deal.
Bucks
so
a buck.
Louis C.K., no big deal. Anyway, I'm happy to have him back. And go to his website because it's the only place you can download it. It's tremendous. Speaking of fucking lunatics, have you guys been keeping an eye on the Krista Ford, Doug Ford saga? Have you guys been watching any of this over the past week?
She is just something else, man. And she gets away with it because she's got the media ban on her. You can't touch her.
Yeah.
Like I said, we were talking earlier, nobody knows about all this craziness that she's putting out there unless you follow her on Twitter. Because she's not in mainstream news, unless you follow and watch this show or follow you on Twitter, Dean or Karima, you're not going to know about it. So many friends I talked to over the weekend, and we talked about how crazy she is, and they had no idea. They don't see it there in Ontario because they're not on Twitter or don't follow us, and it is hidden from mainstream media. Her craziness.
You know what? I'll tell you something. Because I actually think that it is news technically, but the siblings and the kids and stuff like that in politics, there has been sort of an understanding that most of the time they're off limits unless it's something truly egregious. This is slapstick comedy, I think. But when it came to the NDP, Andrea Horwath's son, who's like in his mid 30s, he looks like he's like still 14 up here, kind of Marilyn Manson with a fat gut sort of thing. And like he got mocked a lot in conservative circles. And you saw conservatives and NDP and liberals at that time during the election kind of like they took one little question about it and they said, yeah, we don't think families should ever be involved in politics. This might just be an extension of that. It's just that issue is so big that when you have the premier's daughter speaking out against the issue that is super important right now, it does feel like it is a little bit different. It's not just tabloid, who is she dating? So I don't know. I'm kind of a mixed bag on this one.
Yeah, I'm not. Because I'm just here for the content, but I totally get what you're saying, and you're right. And that's the explanation I've gotten from other MSM outlets, Jamesy, is like, and I won't say who.
I'd like to
I got
change
a
my
note.
answer then.
No, I got a note from a guy that works for one of the major newspapers, and he's like, dude, you listen, keep going. It's going to open up. Like, people are going to have to start talking about it. And this weekend might have been that watershed moment, and it was because of a couple of things. She put this up on Saturday morning. I want to bring this to you. This is Krista Ford, Doug Ford's daughter. She puts out a tweet. If you ever wondered what you would do during slavery, the Holocaust, or the civil rights movement, you're doing it now. So once again, equating slavery and being black, the Holocaust and being Jewish, to having to get a booster shot and maybe wear a mask and not go to the bar past 11. Sorry, go ahead, Jamesy.
Do you know what she would be doing during the Holocaust and during slavery? In slavery, she'd be whipping slaves, probably.
Mm-hmm.
And in Nazi Germany, isn't Ford a German name?
Yeah.
So what she would be doing would probably be hating Jews.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, and to my estimation, when you equate two of the most heinous things in human history,
Planet.
to wearing a mask and getting vaccinated, you're a dumb fuck. It's a dumb, selfish, white fuck. So Doug Ford's daughter is a dumb, selfish, white fuck. And it gets worse. So, I don't even know how it can get worse. So on the weekend, she puts out this video. She's now trying to sell anti-vaxxers defibrillators for their myocarditis in case they have a heart attack.
Oh God, she's merching now? Really? Fuck. If you have one of my sister's cookies, you need a defibrillator.
Clear.
Watch the video. This is and then I'll play you something else after this, because it again gets worse. Watch this.
Good morning, Instagram family. I hope everyone had a lovely weekend. Probably lots of nice holiday parties getting started. So I wanted to show you guys, just with the overwhelming amount of heart attacks that have been going on and the unavailability of first responders to get to the calls on time to save lives, I really suggest that you guys invest in a home defibrillator. What's up, man? This we got quite a few years ago. And it shows you everything to do. So you have literally a reference thing. As long as you can keep calm, cool, and collected while you're doing it, it kind of shows you every single thing that you need to do. And then there's the training pads and everything in there as well. Strongly suggest investing in one of these.
Her voice goes right through me, like right through me. I can't stand her.
Oh, James, I can't hear you. I can't hear you, dude. Got no audio.
I'm sorry. I was laughing so hard I wasn't sure if you muted me, so I muted myself. But
no problem.
First of all, the designer of the app, I'm not sure when they want. Hey, we should have floating hearts. I don't think it was meant for defibrillator content. Just maybe. And then the other thing is, she opens it up and she's like, and it's like, these are the instructions on how to save another human being's life with this device. And she's like, in here, it tells you what to do. Yeah. And here, it's another thing, and you got to do that too. And I'm just, this is amazing.
It is
so
amazing,
awesome.
isn't it?
So while she's hawking these things, and you could, did you hear the passive aggressive stuff at the beginning where she's like, okay, guys, good morning, everybody. First respond. As it happens, her husband is now out of work. He was a first responder, and he chose to not get vaccinated. So he's been fired summarily, like everyone else has who's chosen not to get fucking vaccinated in the police force. And so now everything she does, every video she puts up is about how there's not enough first responders on the road. I read an article this morning that said, oh, there's a ton of them on the road. You got no issues here. So not only is she full of shit, she's just stumping for her husband. That's it. But while all that's going on, while she's selling defibrillators to anti-vaxxers who have myocarditis that doesn't exist, while she's humping these defibrillators, of which she has no idea clearly how they work.
You
got to
do this.
And there's the things, you read the things. at the
honey,
exact
honey, they don't
same
go on your
time.
nipples. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Those same things, those same people that she's selling these to, her people, because she's an anti-vaxxer, are standing in front of her father's house, the premier of the province of Ontario, protesting the very restrictions she thinks are terrible. Like, you cannot write this shit, dude. It's
couple that have had a bear for 25 years since it was a little cub. A grizzly bear. It's got all its teeth, all its claws, and it's had it like dogs, and it lays on them, and we love
I told them that Karima was the organizer.
Oh, Karima is the organizer.
So that is Doug. It doesn't matter. That is Doug Ford. They had dozens and dozens and dozens of degenerates like this guy's daughter, like doing and saying the exact same things this own man's daughter is saying in front of his house, screaming at him, calling him a Nazi Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I mean,
I don't know what to make of this.
How this isn't the biggest story in the world. Like, Hunter Biden gets a little press from time to time. If Hunter Biden came out and was like, my dad's a crazy fuck, this thing doesn't exist, it would be the biggest story in the world.
Yeah, but you wouldn't want it to be, though. You know what I mean?
Like, I want this to be the biggest story in the world. I do. I want The Guardian to pick this up. I want CNN to pick it up. I want Fox News to pick it up. I want everybody. I want Canadian media won't touch it because they're bought and paid for. So who fucking cares? I want all the majors that actually talk to people to actually pick this thing up. Like, who gives a fuck about CTV and Bell and Rogers? Like, 35 million people in this country. No one gives a shit about that. It's 300. Like, we need to get this into the hands of people who drive information, because the fact that the guy who's leading the pandemic response has a daughter whose friends regularly protest her dad because she's equally as crazy as the crazies, you can't write it. You can't fucking make it up. It's too good.
As we know, women can often be vengeful, right? That happens, right? From time to time, right? Yeah. Her husband getting canned for not getting vaccinated. It seems like there's like divisions in this family that are both personal and petty and all that kind of stuff. They're estranged from Rob's widow. I'm sure they don't see their nieces and nephew. Like, there's the fragments and stuff there. This could just be like, fuck you, daddy. You wait and see what's happening now. And daddy knows that in Canada, generally, we don't do that. Before air, I was like pontificating on whether or not this could be a strategy on his part, because it's that stupid. And I think, you know what I mean? But now I don't know. It's so bizarre. He must be livid if it's not a shitty strategy.
Is he though?
I hope he is.
Or does he not give a fuck? Or I don't know.
I was talking to a guy in
the sense that he really doesn't care.
I wonder if she has the goods on him, and I don't want to speculate.
Well, I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he's like, and he actually works in the Ford administration. Not a buddy, like a guy I know, who's been feeding me all the shit that we've been telling people is going on way before it goes on, where it always does. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I was talking to him 4 or 5 days ago about this very subject, and he's like, dude, the one thing you should be happy about is that Doug Ford isn't saying anything about her, and he's also not saying anything about you and people like you that continually bring up what she's doing. Because the good news here is you could probably assume that Doug isn't really pleased with what she's doing, because he's not coming after you, and he's really being quiet with her. She's married to a 50-year-old bodybuilder who's looks like he shoots things into his asshole. Doug probably doesn't want to take care of that. Like, there's probably some family dynamics. There's probably some family dynamics at play here that are legitimately a problem for Doug, which is weirdly makes me happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
but I am surprised that no one's asked him, though. I am surprised that no one in the press, from at least Post Media or actually, wait, Now Magazine, like someone has to be at least once go, your daughter's an anti-vaxxer. How does that collide with your message? Or something. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't know. This is a tough one. I think it is a story. I think you're right. I think I would probably, if I was an editor, be like, today's the day. Go ask him about his daughter, because go
ahead.
Enough's enough.
Well, it's huge, dude. Like, when I get phone calls from New York and guys are like, tell me about at first it was like the director of Ontario's daughter. I'm like, director of Ontario? What are you fucking talking about? And he's like,
the Lord of Ontario.
Do you know how he's like, some chick who used to be like a lingerie football player. She's like a crazy anti-vaxxer. She's the daughter of like the guy who's in charge of Ontario. And I'm like, oh, Krista. And he's like, that's it. It's like, I'm reading about it this morning, and he's in New York. He's in Manhattan. He sits down at his desk, and he's like, boom, boom, boom. And he's like, I thought I'd give you a call to find out what the fuck is going on. He goes, if Hunter Biden did this, the world would be on fucking fire. So I don't know how people aren't talking about it. This guy's in media down in New York, too, and he said the same thing. So that's why I wanted to deal with it today, because it's just fucking ridiculous that nobody's talking about it other than us.
Do you guys remember that big rumor about that jailhouse snitch getting murdered, and this is just a rumor, okay? I'm not owning this. But you hear it a lot of times, and you wonder about how the Ford family arranged for a security guard to basically kill somebody in the slammer.
No,
you never heard that rumor? Okay, so that was a rumor. It was connected to the Sandra Lisi stuff, and it was someone that was going to basically rat out Ford before anything came out. And coincidentally, that person did get murdered in jail. They did not say it was the guard, but they don't know who it was, that kind of thing. There's like an interesting perspective on this, where it's like it has less to do with his daughter and more to do with her husband. Because if people, it's a really close-knit circle, law enforcement, prison guards, things like that. So there's always going to be like the bad crowd. I don't know how else to term that, but like, the blue wall of silence, whatever you want to call it, where certain things don't get accounted for. And I'm totally reaching here. I have no idea if any of this is true, but it would just be interesting if the story's not really about his daughter, but more about him.
Yeah, I don't know. It explains why. I mean, something's there, because like the dude's in charge of the pandemic response, and his daughter is railing against him every day. She's supporting people that are going to her dad's house to interrupt his Christmas every day, to call him a Nazi in front of his house as he pulls out of his driveway every day. She's one of them. Like, fucking put that in your head. She's one of them.
She must hate him.
Oh, fuck.
She hates him, and she's crazy. So it's his fault that she's really good in bed.
Ryan Lindley said this. I know some guy that took that down, by the way, in a parking lot at Bond Mills Mall. Anyway, long story. I don't want to talk about it. Ryan Lindley makes a point. Ryan from this program, of course, Sheeple Shepherd podcast, he sends us a comment. He says, dads, pay attention. This is what happens when you ignore your daughters for the majority of their lives.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're a
screaming for attention now.
That well. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny to me because it's not my kid.
Yeah, right.
If that was my kid, dude, think about it in terms of Chris Sky's parents. Chris Sky's dad's like, I don't know the fucking guy. Guy's
right.
Don't watch. I'm going to take care of you, son. Okay. And not the way I have been.
Thing. Krista Ford retweeted one of Chris Sky's or reshared one of Chris Sky's Instagram posts. Chris Sky is within 500 meters of her dad because he threatened to kill her dad.
He's probably going to end up masturbating in the room that they have sex in eventually. What the fuck is with all that lights? Oh, sorry. The sun's shining on Chris's teeth. Just turned Chris. There you go.
Oh, fucking.
Like you said, Dean, you can't make this shit up. It's fucking gold. It's awesome.
You can't. On a happier note, the Island Boys got booed out of a UFC event this weekend. I don't know if you guys saw the Island Boys.
Aren't they sick and tired of being booed out of shit by now?
Yeah.
Like, why don't they just go away?
Is it a boo tour? Is that what they're doing?
No. They're just showing up at UFC events because Dana White likes them, thinks they're funny. No one else does, though, as pointed out by the people that recorded this video of them getting doused with beer at the UFC event in Tampa.
It makes it all worthwhile.
Awesome.
And then after they got doused with beer, they were escorted out. But you gotta listen, like they think they're being escorted out to like, cheers and stuff. Everybody's telling them to fuck off, booing them. It's the best. Watch this. And let me just say this. If I'm them, I'm hiding my head under like a hood and I'm running out as fast as I can to get away from all the negativity. People telling me I suck, I'm useless, you look like a pencil crayon, stuff like that. I'm running out. Those guys are so clueless as to what's going on, and they think that they're legit. They think people are cheering, and so they're stopping for fucking pictures on the way out, going, yay, yay. But I give them credit. I mean, every public event I've seen them at, have shit thrown at them. They've been booed off stage. They've been spit on. One guy slapped him at this event on the way out. One of the guys, don't know which one. They both look the same. I give those guys some credit because they legitimately don't care. They just like, fuck, ride the waves. People know who we are. Yep. Booze are people saying hi, right? That's what they're thinking.
Are these guys? Are they twins?
Yeah,
they look exactly
the
fucking same. Okay.
Yeah, they both look like douchebags. Like, you know, I don't know. I hate all this shit. These are people that we should never have ever heard of. You know, and they're on borrowed time.
Right? Like they've got to be. They are on borrowed time, James. You're right.
Well, it's like that other guy, that rapper, Little Jesus or whatever the fuck his name was. That white kid from the States. I think he's like from Ohio, and he was spitting all of these really hardcore gangster lyrics, and then you find out he's like 4'10", ginger, skinny, and he's got guns in his video, but it's clearly a juxtaposition. And you know, I don't know, like the internet does that. Like that girl that farted for 365 days and sold it for whatever. How much money was that, Dean? Like 40 grand or something?
$80,000. Like 20 minutes of constant farting. Yeah.
Wow.
You know, with the same species put shit on Mars and invented vaccines. You know, we also sell our farts, alien race. You know, we should say it. It's great. You know, I don't know.
Sorry, yeah, that was at the Jake Paul fight this weekend.
Right.
That wasn't at a UFC fight. It was thank you to Danielle who reminded me it was the Jake Paul fight where Jake Paul beat up Tyron Woodley. Like the fucking world is weird. It's so weird. Jake Paul beat up Tyron Woodley in like 5 minutes and he was wearing trunks that were worth $1.2 million. He's not even
he
fighting.
Did fucking clock him with that right. Did you see the
did he ever?
footage?
Yeah.
I don't even know who
Buddy
Jake Paul is. I'm sorry. I just don't know who that guy is.
He's a YouTube actor.
Used to be a huge YouTube star. Now he thinks he's a YouTuber. Boxer extraordinaire.
Oh.
Yeah.
Him and his brother.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Is it like the biggest name in boxing is a YouTuber?
Yep. Yeah.
I guess
his name. It's crazy.
Nothing surprising. Premier's daughter is an anti-vaxxer and protests in front of her own dad's house, selling defibrillators in their spare time.
Yeah.
The world
they should launch a porn career with Chair Girl.
I think Cher's already done a couple of videos.
Chair Girl?
I think so. Yeah. I think she's been in a couple of adult features already. I've heard and seen.
That was tough to predict.
Yeah. You nailed it. You're joking around. And you're like, oh yeah, I guess it already happened.
Yeah.
You're way behind.
Yeah. I certainly am. I thought Jake Paul was Machine Gun Kelly when I saw a picture of him.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah. But he's not. Same dude. Machine Gun Kelly wouldn't get his ass kicked by Jake Paul, I'm pretty sure. I would see that fight though.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. All right, boys. That's it for me. I gotta go. But thanks so much.
Hey, I like your hat. It's dope there, Bondzee.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
Great show, Dean. Thank you for having me. Jamesy, always nice.
You're welcome. You got a show tonight?
Yes. Tyler Walker from Phoenix. I met him when I was there and with my Arizonian friends. He's owner and founder of a CBD coffee company and plethora of coffee shops, CBD coffee shops and dispensaries in the Phoenix area. So should be a good chat with him tonight, 9:00.
You're talking pot.
Yep. CBD coffee. Right. Actually, it's not even coffee. Well, he's in the pot business too. But his main thing is the CBD coffee that has huge benefits for people young, old, and anywhere in between. Should be fun.
Okay. I was about to say, I think Ryan's there too. You've used the word plethora a plethora of times in the last couple weeks.
It's my new favorite word.
And I think it's starting to become a crutch.
Yeah, well, I'll try and get out of it. Sorry, Jamesy.
I'm just fucking around. Look at what Ryan did. He wrote the whole goddamn thing.
P-L-E-H-T-O
plethora.
R-A plethora. Plethora.
Yeah,
but you don't say plethora. You say plethora. You say plethora.
Oh, do I? Plethora.
Yeah,
plethora.
You could just go. You just say a bunch of things. Just say lots. Just say the word
plethora
lots. Easier
of omnicroms.
Yeah, lots of omnicrom. Anyway,
All right.
James DiFiore, Blackball Media, the podcast. You can get it blackballed anywhere you get your fine podcasts, including DeanBlundell.com. Bondzee's Tripping with Bondzee tonight. Tripping with Bondzee on YouTube is where you can see it. You can also follow us at It's Dean Blundell, at Bondzee Live, and you'll be able to get his stuff there as well. And that's it for me. I want to thank our sponsors and our friends over at Easy Auto Financial for making this possible. Easy Auto Financial. Go there today, easyautofinancial.ca. If you're looking for a car and some financing, they'll figure it out for you. They'll do everything for you. You don't need to do anything at all. All you need to do is go and sign up for easyautofinancial.ca. Thanks, Bondzee. Great to see you, buddy. Oh, everybody's splitting already. Also, our friends at Ed's Fine Imports looking for a last-minute Christmas gift. These guys have like 80% off suits and blazers. edsfineimports.com. Also, is Gitch incredible. You can order from him. He'll send you a free pair. Gitch3 is your promo code. Go to edsfineimports.com. Clothing for men and boys. And Domination, DMNTN.com. Try them out today. It's AI for people that like to produce content. You can get 72 pieces, 72 promos in like minutes instead of hours. It's incredible. Try them for free today. Go to DMNTN.com. Doo-doo. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Ryan just reminded me. Subscribe to DeanBlundell.com on YouTube. And on Twitch, Dean Blundell Show on Twitch, Dean Blundell Show on YouTube. Super easy to do. That's it for us. Have a great day, everybody. See you tomorrow. Bye.